Rona re le mokgatlo wa ACT, African Congress for Transformation, re a itlama hore re tla sebetsa mmoho le mekgatlo yohle ho etsa bonnete ba hore hona le botsitso dikgethong tsena tse re leng ho tsona. Hobane ba tlileng pele ba e lwanetseng tokoloho, ba lwanetse freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, mme baahi ba South Africa le montsena tse 30 ba na le yona tokelo ya ho ikgethela mokgatlo wa o ratang. Re a itlama mme re a utlwisisa hore se IEC e batlang ho se fihlella, re tla sebetsa mmoho le yona mme re a tshepa hore IEC jwale ka e tsamaisitse dikgetho dilemo tse 30 tse fetileng ka tsela e tshepahalang, re tshepa ba tla ne ba di tsamaise ka tsela e jwalo. Re a leboha African Congress for Transformation.
My dear friends, I greet you this afternoon and thank you very much to the Commission. We established a quiet, peaceful South Africa when we met at the CODESA negotiations. South Africa has, from that point onwards, enjoyed a relatively peaceful South Africa. We've increased a commitment to each other as the people of this country. We've improved on the Constitution and continue to do so. In this election, we must strengthen our commitment to the drive for a negotiated, peaceful South Africa, because that is how we will solve all of the problems that confront us going into the future. And I'm happy to say to you, the difficulties are very small when we are discussing and agreeing instead of fighting. It was Moshoeshoe the first who taught us, Motse, ho ahoa morapedi. Thank you.
Program Director, and greetings to everyone. The Pan-Africanist Congress of Tanzania, as we all know by now, is a political survivor from the school of hard knocks. We understand the rules of the elections game very well. We understand the written and unwritten rules, and we pledge to abide by the spirit and the letter of the rules. Above and beyond the regulations of Electoral Act, we bring a particular enriched lesson. The prophets of doom have often said that we are dead and buried, and it is obviously a blue lie. We rise, like they say in the biblical story of the Easter experience. We rise all the time when haters wish us away. We rise and send a very strong message: Valdez is coming. They thought Valdez was no more, but they did not have the evidence of the dead body or even the knowledge of anyone who attended the funeral. He came back when they least expected, and he sent a message: go and tell them that Valdez is coming. We call on our supporters and followers and potential voters to remember where the PAC comes from and where it is going. Those who did not believe this message are shocked to see the PAC going from strength to strength. It is because we are deeply rooted in the soil. We are watered by the rains of the African gods. We put our faith in the people. We pledge to abide by the rules. As figang as Kaleleki.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, and all protocols observed. On behalf of Rise Mzansi, I pledge to uphold the Electoral Code of Conduct. We do this not just out of legal obligation, but also out of a deep commitment to the values in our Constitution. The Constitution undertakes to establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. South Africa is to be a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people. It is through the elections that the people exercise their will. And the people can only exercise this will if elections are free and fair. Rise Mzansi therefore embraces without hesitation the IEC's code of conduct. We undertake to speak out against political violence and threats, to inform the authorities about planned marches or rallies, to communicate with other political parties about planned political events, and to recognize the authority of the Electoral Commission and to work with it and law enforcement if needs be. South Africans have the fundamental right to a democratic government. This begins with the election of our representatives to Parliament. Representatives will hold the government to account on our behalf and will account back to us. Yesterday, the former Speaker of Parliament was forced to resign a position because of allegations that she received bribes when she was Minister of Defense. More than ever before, we need new leaders. And our Constitution gives us the mechanism to choose these new leaders every 5 years through free, fair, and credible elections. Rise Mzansi commits to this. We signed a code of conduct with a sense of duty. We also sign it with joy that we belong to a democracy that gives us a right to political regeneration. And we sign it with gratitude that we have an institution in the IEC that safeguards these rights. Thank you.
Let me, on behalf of Xiluva, not Xiluva, Xilu, it flows. On behalf of Xiluva, we plan to abide by the rules and regulations set out by the IEC for the 2024 elections. Underpinned by our ideology of Ubuntu, we believe through the principles of empathy, community, and fostering a sense of interconnectedness and mutual respect. We will work to ensure an inclusive society that everyone's needs are met and everyone's voices can be heard. Our belief in Ubuntu guides our actions and decisions, which continuously drive us to strive for positive change. We must make one thing very clear about this election. This election is not about the old reinventing themselves. This election is about the future of this country and young people who who Stats SA tells us that the biggest voting pool sits between the ages of 18 and 49. We must be careful of following sheep's in wolf's clothes. Wolves in sheep's clothes. We must be careful of those who perpetuate swart gevaar to negatively affect a voting turnout. There is no doom and gloom in South Africa. This South Africa will rise and live whether or not you win or you lose as a political party. So what we want to affirm as a political party is that we are going to contest this election sharply. Every space will be contested because we love our country and we firmly believe that it is our turn as young people to lead this beautiful country. Many people have served this country and gotten it to the place where it is today, but it's also important that the next phase takes over. So 2024 is about the next phase of this country. It's not about any violence, any threat of violence or anything of that matter. It's about winning democratically, inspiring and capturing and animating the hearts and minds of South Africans. Most importantly, we must appreciate the role of the IEC, and most importantly, in turning down an absurd request to increase observation from executives of other countries. South Africa is a sovereign country. We do not owe our allegiance to any country. We are a sovereign state, and that must be affirmed at all material times. With that, you can rest assured that Xiluva is for South Africans, for young people. We are Xiluva.
News that matter. News that spark conversation. For more, visit www.newslifesa.co.za. News that matter. News that spark conversation. For more, visit www.newslifesa.co.za.